Bienvenidas y bienvenidos todos y todas al Bide Podcast, el podcast del Barcelona International Dance Exchange, Bide. Hoy, en nuestro capítulo número 35, tenemos como invitadas a Iniciativa Sexual Femenina. En este caso vamos a estar con Elisa Keisanen, espero que lo diga bien el apellido, que junto a Élise Moreau forman este colectivo muy interesante del cual tenemos una relación ya muy larga a través de Bide y a través de La Caldera, y vamos a estar hablando un poquito de sus procesos, de sus inicios y de cómo está el proyecto a día de hoy. Bienvenida, Elisa, un gusto tenerte con nosotros.
Ay, gracias, Sebastián.
Pues mira, siempre empezamos, un placer tenerte, sí, como a ver si lo digo bien, muy, ¿no?
Ay, sí, muy bien, muy.
Muy.
Quitos.
Quitos. Un poco por tanto los inicios tuyos como Élise, que no nos puede acompañar hoy, pero un poco qué fue lo que te llevó a relacionarte con la danza. Vos originalmente naciste y te formaste en Finlandia. Y también cómo fue el encuentro entre ustedes dos, ¿sí? Entonces un poquito de los inicios y luego cuándo fue el momento en que ambos caminos se cruzaron.
Claro. Vale, soy finlandesa y como mi camino con danza es como básicamente yo estaba como haciendo danza toda mi vida y después dos escuelas, universidades de danza, he conocido un chico en Riga, mi novio, y después con un camino, después dos años, al final nuestra destinación estaba Barcelona. Y llego aquí, y claro, y más o menos muy rápido conocimos con Élise Moreau y Cristina Morales, porque claro, con Iniciativa Sexual Femenina, donde estoy dentro como nuestra colectiva, estamos nosotras tres, pero como y estaba súper como parte súper guay como conocer a estas dos chicas, como hemos conocido como una casa ocupa en Sants, en Cambies, y esto también era un momento muy importante para nuestro trabajo. Y no sé si mi propia vida con la danza, estudio en Outokumpu cuando yo era 20 años, como 3 años en Outokumpu, que es un sitio súper genial para bailar, para conocer gente, y después 3 años en Helsinki, en Universidad del Arte.
Sí, no sé si te va mejor, también podemos cambiar al inglés, ¿eh? Como quieras.
Sí, claro, no sé si es verdad que quizás podemos como saltar, como un poco
Sí, de hecho sería el primero que hacemos en varios idiomas, lo cual sería muy divertido.
Sí.
Me encantaría si podés contarnos un poquito en inglés, si tenés ganas, de Outokumpu, porque es un lugar donde estuvimos con Bide haciendo uno de nuestros primeros satélites en el año 2012, que hoy dirige, o es la lecture de la escuela Ula Mäkinen, que con ella hemos fundado Bide hace muchos años, ya en el 2009, porque es un espacio muy especial, está en un lugar muy especial, y luego como fue la vuelta a Theater Academy de Helsinki, que es como otro tipo de vinculación. Y por supuesto, si quieres contárnoslo en inglés, en finlandés nos encantaría, pero creo que lo va a entender poca gente.
That's true. Yeah, of course I can. Yes, that's the Outokumpu. It was I think very important turning point or starting point for me in my dancistic career. That time it was still international. Unfortunately, I think nowadays it's a bit tricky related to the Finnish policy of schools. But I was lucky to study with people around the world, actually, mostly in European people, although, and it's a very little space. It's a little pueblo with I think 7,000 people, and when you were studying there was nothing else than the studies. Kind of like you had to, the whole life was around the study, and it was very good because then you had the time to focus, kind of making the friendship very strong, and also be alone in your thoughts, because then there was lots of forest to go and to have a walk, and okay, There were no cafeteria. Okay, one cafeteria
Only one. Yes,
exactly, and one bar. So, and
if I don't remember wrong, it's just one or two supermarkets, no? And that's
exactly. There's two supermarkets. Like, I don't know how it's nowadays, but it was like kind of a very retreat. I don't know how, like.
Yeah, it's an immersive experience, as Vanessa like you said.
Exactly. And then related to that, I went to study to Helsinki, and I have to say that first year I was like, I'm from Jyväskylä originally, so it's like a city between Outokumpu and Helsinki as a size-wise, but it was hectic, and I felt the pressure of big city. I felt like, okay, in here the competition to be as an artist is stronger. Like it was like very oriented to the what is the career, what is the how to build a career, and how to network. And of course, it's important part. I don't say that, but I felt the pressure. But of course, I'm happy that I had those both opportunities to kind of relate to and go through. Yeah.
Super. And how was the contrast when you moved? You said before, you moved with your boyfriend to Barcelona. Really fast. You met Elise and Sandra, and you started a project also together. How was the contrast between this experience that you came from a Finnish perspective, let's say, and you came to a more Latin type of dynamic or flow here?
Yeah, I think actually before that we lived also a little bit in France, and I felt in France quite isolated, quite alone. But I have to say that related to that, maybe I was a bit unlucky in that sense. Well, I don't say that it would be always like that in there, but in my case, I found the contrast also between France and Finland and Spain, that the community and related to all the people in the street, for example, they were very welcoming and very different. Of course, the actual integration moment or time took more or less 2 years to really feel more like a home in here. And of course, it goes with the language also, because I didn't speak any Spanish when I came, or Catalan, which is very important part also in the work wise in Barcelona. But it was, and I have to say that the Bide was one of the very good moments in the beginning, because I think I participated Bide in first year when I came here like 6 years ago, first time. And it was funny because just that year there was also a lot of Outokumpu people. It was like a
gang.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. Maybe 15 people from Outokumpu, and then me, and then actually some of my friends where I studied with them in Outokumpu. So it was funny, like combination, being in Barcelona, living in Barcelona, and having this Outokumpu vibes, and also the friends from Outokumpu. So and I found very, very, very good in the Bide community, because it was like slowly this transition from new people here, old people from the background, from the past, and then also with the journey with the language. So it was good starting point, I have to say. Yeah.
And how was the very and also how, not only how, what was the driving force when you met Elise and Sandra to start a really special project like Iniciativa Sexual Femenina? Because and I would like to know a bit about, I know your work, but our buyers and listeners can have a more deeper version from you, because it's a super special project. You have a feminism and anti-academic type of point of view to address the choreography, how to be on stage, etc. So this was the idea from the beginning when you met together. It's something that you start to develop from where, because it's not usual to have these really political energy projects around the dance in general. I have to say,
Yeah, I think like first of all, I think our personal chemistry was working well, so we were able to talk about these topics. And our principles are like we are feminists, we're anti-academical and libertarian, and also we aim to work horizontally. So that's also like, of course, that's, for example, I think it takes time, but we aim to that we talk through all the parts together. So there is not like one person who decides what to do. And because we were, I think, in that moment in all of our lives that we were we did not have lots of money, and we were, for example, how I found the girls. My friend was living in Canvies, like next to Canvies, and she said that there is some laboratorio dance lab. I think it's free, so maybe you could go there, because I know that you don't at this moment have a like, let's say you could like it. And I was like, okay, I go there, and then I found the girls from there, and I think Elise and Cristina, they met in the contact jams before that, and we're super like happy that Canvies like gave us the space to practice in their studio, and of course also the political part was very involved, because it's Okupa, so it asks like this, that people have to be involved in the life of Canvies, for example, and it was very communal experience. I feel that I'm the less because I felt that I was always a visitor, even though I appreciated a lot the experience, and also the political sense. I think like from Cristina and Élise, there was the atmosphere that we were able to bring these topics of being poor, feminism, the point where as a female where we are, what are our points of related to pleasure, or our limits, our physical limits, and how we wanted to kind of work in a dance field. Because I have to say, sometimes, for example, contemporary world, and if you study the contemporary or dance or let's say academical art, it's very it can be very sterile. Like it's white, it's neutral, it's like so especially the work itself. So in order to, I felt that when I was in Finland, we were dancing in a studio, and we were feeling each other's bodies, but it was always very that, okay, we are working here, so let's not get too physical. Like also, let's not find too much pleasure out of it, so we don't go beyond the work ethics. And I think that was something that we were talking with girls also, and with the work of Iniciativa, finding also the sexual pleasure, a different kind of pleasure during the rehearsals, was also a very important part in our work. And of course, like respecting all of our limits, we have a very different limits, and we were always talking, is everything okay for you? Is everything okay with me, he, her, everybody who was part of the process. So that's important.
Yeah, you touch this topic of I don't know if the exactly word is suffering, but why is necessary to suffer during the process of making a dance piece, and where this is coming, this is a question for you also, and because maybe with Iniciativa you found some answers, and I think it's super important to share these possible answers, because you are working for now for a little while, so it's not just a recent project. So what is your take in this, the why and from where came from, and at the same time what type of answer Iniciativa propose when you are working with the girls?
Suffering, that's a good question, because our second piece, Perpetua Felicidad, because we have 2 pieces, Catalina, which was like premiered in 2019 Festival Salmon, and then the second one, Perpetua Felicidad, and Antique and Grec Festival in 2020. So 21. So the second one, Perpetua, is like, it's in a sense much about also suffering, but also of course we try to find the pleasure out of it, but I guess it's the physicality of it, because when you're truly sweating or going like dancing with the other body, it's and of course in a stage when you make a performance, maybe the limits of suffering are different than in a basic like daily life. For example, I push my limits of being on stage sometimes a bit too much, and I might suffer on stage. For example, with what happened in the Perpetua Felicidad, what I learned through the performance is that I don't need to suffer. I can trust my compañeras and but it's a lot about the communication. It's the communication, I think, is the key, that of course, like, even we know each other well, it's sometimes there is the fear of saying things honestly, that okay, I don't feel good about this. Or if you're very long in the process, you feel that okay, we are already too far, so I let these things be. But then it's again good to revisit the own limits and kind of like that. But I think suffering. Also, I think our way of working is we have this radical yes. We say everything, all the proposals kind of first moment yes, we try them, and even the silliest things like let's put the stockings. Let's try to wear stockings to Élise with our mouths, and like kind of like very like kid-like proposals. So I think like that's also an important aspect of working with Iniciativa.
Totally.
Yeah.
And also the you criticize a lot of also, let's say and I want to ask you about what is for you guys the female body into the stage, because it's a certain type of definition that dancers needs to be with this shape or this type of body, and you also criticize a lot this, and from a super radical point of view that I really like. So if you can share us a bit about this also.
Yeah, I think that's something like for example, when we create pieces, we let ourselves to be how we are individual. Like Élise is like she is, Cristina is like she is, I am like who I am. Like we have the general idea of for example scenery, we build it, but then we allow these differences of us be also available on stage, so we don't or present. So we don't try to correct positions or and of course I think it's this kind of personal my personal perspective, for example, that I enjoy of being a bit vulgar or I would say I don't know, like a search this kind of I don't want to say that it's a masculine energy, because it's also a feminine energy, like this kind of because we have lots of people have said to us that did you try to be like men on the stage, and we're like, actually we haven't talked about a single time in the space that okay, let's try to be like men. No, we just try to be like who we are, but maybe like that we don't, in the moment of being performing, we want to kind of explosion. It's like little explosion of being in the stage. So it's like, and not being not try to be in a safe place, I would say, in a sense.
And what you name a few sentences ago the vulgarity, So how is for you being vulgar on stage, and why you think that gets so much reaction? Because looks like we supposed to be in a certain behavior, let's say planet, when you are on stage, whatever the piece is telling about. I'm trying to say that the theme of whatever piece put you in a space, but actually the idea of being on space or what we call in Spanish la presencia escénica, try to sometimes you have this correction or this behave on stage, and vulgarity is so sometimes get these reactions. No, so what is for you vulgarity? I think it's super interesting to hear. And how you develop and play with the vulgarity on stage with Elise and Cristina.
Yeah, I think like for example with this piece, I remember the beginning point that I felt that my limits, they were very I don't want to say closed because that's not the right word for it, but I have pushed my limits very carefully and with the respect of girls and with the respect of my own limits, that with this trustful surrounding atmosphere what we have when we work, I have been able to, this pushing the limits, it's also a thing that, okay, in art you have to push your limits. It's a very tricky thing, and I feel that I have been doing it like with a long time. We have had also a long time to create, for example, Catalina. So with the time, it also helped us to always revisit those worlds. And the vulgarity, I think it came through that we were practicing with the repetition and getting to know the material more and more, and like a kind of feeling that, okay, this is my material, this is my body, where can I go with that? And then also, I guess the world of pleasure, what is, for example, with Catalina, it gives us joy, and it gives us this opportunity to play also with audience. That, okay, let's see where is your limits, where is our limits, where is the place to play, because we are playing all the time, and I feel that every performance I go a bit further and further and further. I like the sweatiness more. I like the licked more. I like the saliva more, and it's somehow like it's building the piece, is building it's bringing the vulgarity out very nicely. I have to say it's like a very good structure for bringing the not so well put postures, and the belly can be out, the very typical this we can have our armpit hair, we can have our hairs out, which is like nowadays, of course, it's super normal already start to be, which is super good. And we want to like underline that. No, we don't want to underline that. We want to embrace it with our piece.
And what type of energy came when you start to play with all these tools and all these aspects of the body that sometimes are hidden, let's say, or not that common to use? Maybe, of course, some performers or choreographers made this before in the 70s and the 80s, but you talk about the fluids, no? So, for example, and this idea that where the fluids are, is equal vulgarity, saliva, sweating, etc. So, sorry. So, what type of energy you find when you are working with your partners in terms of relationship with each other? You know what I mean? It's clear what type of energy drives to you on stage, but what happens when you start to interact with the other two? And of course, with an audience, of course, because I think, I saw you perform, and I mean, the audience energy is in your pieces are another factor, no?
Yeah. It's like, you mean like okay, what brings what comes out when I work with the girls in the
yeah, I mean, what type of interactions start to happen?
Yeah, it's like, for example, our pieces are more or less quite set, but of course nowadays we know, for example, Catalina very well, so it gives us the margen, the window to play with even more and more, and I think it's it's something that we, for example, when we're on the stage, we try to ask ourselves that, okay, am I on the stage, or is this just the fun what we could have without the audience, or could we just be here having this fun? Of course, there's the existence of the audience, but for example, like the physicality, that's the key, that we are not afraid of bite or slap or lick or suck the hair of Elise. It's like, for example, I have a moment when I'm really enjoying her hair, and I feel that every time I want to go a bit further and further, and I'm almost on the limit of vomiting, which is it's pleasurable also, because it hasn't happened yet. so and I have to say that it's related to like the timings. So maybe one day they let me go so far that then there is the option is to, the next step is to vomit. But it's also that they can see how I enjoy that, so they let me do every time, like maybe a bit more, and maybe a bit more, and let's see when that day comes that I'm like, blah. But yeah, it's like really looking those actions, really being in those moments. For example, I have some ambulance going.
Yes.
I hope that you don't. Yeah, maybe audience, the people are hearing that. But like that, when we are in the moments in the performance, we are really watching what is happening. Like the play, okay, do Elise wanna go further with that? Does Cristina wanna go further with that? Maybe Elisa wants to enjoy today this part a bit more. So it's like the pleasure what we have, we give a time for those pleasurable moments. So that's nice. That's nice. What we play with inside of the piece.
Super. I want to ask you one more thing about the Iniciativa, because of course it's absolutely subjective opinion, but because I have an age, I saw many stuff during the last 30 something years. Something that I super appreciate about your radical point of view and this body that you are playing with is that you are really sweating on stage, and I mean it's super intense. And sometimes when I witness other type of performers or other type of proposals, it's something that don't usually happen. You know what I mean? Because also, of course, again, it's a absolutely subjective opinion. But from my point of view, I realize that some performers or some dancers, without sweating, they just at the same time keeping a safe distance about what type of narrative they put on stage when this is radical or an extreme type of proposal. You know what I mean? So, and in your case, you really, the bodies are there, and I mean from the super intensity point of movement. So you feel that sometimes where is the this distance about engaging and be committed to the narrative that Iniciativa in this case proposed, and when you found other type of close type of proposals, with other companies or other projects.
No, wait. Can you repeat me once more the?
Yeah, sorry. No. I'm just saying that you. Sorry for taking the long way to make the question. But how is your point? Because you really put the body on stage and you sweat a lot, and you really. I mean, the intensity is really there. And some other artists who work with these radical proposals, they don't used to sweat, and I wonder if it's also a safe distance about how you can engage and be committed to whatever narrative, in this case, Iniciativa or other creators put on stage when they take the hard path to put it on stage.
Claro. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's a relation with can there be the relation with the anti-academical and world anti-academical that we, like we wanna, we're workers here. We are working. We are putting our body in this thing. Like I'm like a person who is like chopping the trees. It's like it's a damn sweaty business, but it's like I feel that that's our true, like that's our way of making true proposals for ourselves when we put the body fully in that. That when we engage, we wanna sweat, we wanna go to that very physical point when we are very exhausted also. And but also it's super okay when we are exhausted, we are allowed to be exhausted. It's like that, but I think it's somehow that we talk a lot. We talk a lot. We talk deep things when we create pieces, but then when we put on the stage, it might be very simple. It might be very simple. I walk a path, or I fuck with the table, and that's it. It's like, and then you go through that. Like it's a very, in a sense, not purified, but like simplified actions in the end. So we can really be honest and sweat. We can find the moment of, okay, how this physical action is going then. So, and of course, it's a good question.
Thank you so much. I would like to also to ask you about the festival that you are working with your sister and colleague, the Tanssiba Eloku, because it's something that happened in Finland, and also maybe I don't know if it's a chance also to go back, to your place and also bring some of your amazing work and experience from here, from Barcelona and previously in France. So how this festival happens and when, and if you can develop a bit about this nice spot that you are doing with them.
It's a project which actually came through the village. It's a village where my dad is born, or like he lived his early years in there, and the village, we have a summer cottage in there. So the village, the people, they know us, and they proposed before COVID that could we do something like with the dance? Could we bring art to the village? And there's like less than 1,000 people in that particular village. There's one store. I think that's very important. Always the knowledge. Okay, there's a one store and school. So they asked, and we were like, okay, let's do something. And we started to develop it. And during the COVID, we had a very good time to develop it. And now we have had 2 festivals, 2001 and 2002. And 2021 and 2022, and it's we make performances with the people who are from the village or villages around. They are our performers. We have more or less elderly ladies or like women with between 50 and 80, and then also we have some younger girls, and also this year my dad is performing.
Wow.
So it's like we want to respect the what the people from the village want to do, and we collected memories from the village, and we made our first performance related to the memories of the village, and the next piece is also related to the memories and more or less until this moment from the 50s and like that, and then we have also dance camp and very different little events around the month what we spend there in August. But it's very nice because that's true that I can spend time 1 month from this hectic Barcelona, which I also love, but it's also super nice to be 1 month let's say, in the middle of nowhere, but in the middle of nowhere, which is a very active middle of nowhere, there is a big active community who wants to be involved, and they are always ready for everything, which is amazing. I'm like, we're always with my sister that we can ask more or less everything, and they're like, okay, let's try. And then the beginning they're like, we don't. They for example gave us feedback last year that in the beginning we were like, what is happening in these rehearsals? What will come out from this piece? Like, okay, but we trust these girls. Maybe something come out, and then they were super happy in the end, seeing the result and feeling like really being able to also express through movement, which is very simply but beautiful thing to discover.
Super. And sounds like also this memory point of view that you have the chance to put your vision to the past, and at the same time with Iniciativa is super in situ present type of point of view too. So how is the near future for Elisa, knowing that you have a super nice space for the present with Iniciativa and this memory set type of festival in Finland, how this relate with your possible futures, that you have a lot of futures possible in front of yourself.
Yeah, that's true. It's like we want to continue the festival with my sister. We would like to establish that it could be there the coming years also, and then with Iniciativa we're happy to perform actually with our both pieces before Christmas, still like in Valencia and Lleida, and then now we are creating actually a choreography in Madrid in the Centro Dramático Nacional for the book of Cristina, the Lectura Fácil. So that will be also in soon in premiere, and then I'm also happy, like I have been honored to work with other artists also. Like I have started to get involved more and more to the artistic field in Barcelona. So I'm working with other choreographers and collectives, which is nice. So next year will be, let's see, and then in the meantime I slowly work my own solo, but my own solo comes one day when it's ready to come. So so it's one approach also, but that's true that I'm so community, like a group player, I would say, that I love to work with others, and then I noticed that I have sometimes tendency to put my solo work a bit on the side. Okay, it's coming, but I love to work with people. So then there is always proposals that, would you like to come with work with us? I'm like, yes, definitely. So yeah, that's the tendency. But it's not that. It's like it is.
Yeah, no, totally. I think it's a way also to learn, to share, and also to get ideas when you are with more people. I love to dance with more people. I mean, I admire you that you are creating a solo. I can't, nowadays, because being with myself on stage, I say, for what? I'm already alone with myself in my head and in my body. So, but I totally get it, and this is why also I am asking, because you tend to be a people person, so this is something that I super appreciate from how you are.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, Elisa, was a pleasure to hear you. Thank you so much to give us the space. Of course, we miss Elise, but we are planning next year to do some podcasts with not just one project or artist, to make a conversation, and we love to think that we want to invite you both and interact with other artists and have a healthy discussion.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Thank you, Sebastian.
No, you're welcome. This was the chapter number 35 of our Bide podcast, and see you in the next one.